Let me call to order the Building Facilities Construction Committee meeting of April 21st at 7:02 PM. Just a couple of notes. One, we've lost our town engineer, who has been certainly a strong guide to this board. So I'm left to try to go through this agenda, to which I apologize to the board in advance if there are some things on there that we can't reach or address today, and that's entirely my fault.
Mr. Chairman, can we do a roll call vote since we have a remote participant for the future minute taker?
Absolutely.
And not only that, we have a new minute taker.
Oh, we do have a new one. Good.
I believe. We did the last, yeah.
Okay, good.
So Ginger, if we could start with you, because we have to take a roll call vote, would you object to stating your full name and the fact that you're on the phone once I stop talking?
Yep, no problem. This is Virginia W. Howe, and I am at the meeting telephonically.
Shirley Mazinski,
Mike Fitzpatrick?
Linda Brown.
Fred Fontaine.
And Sean Holland. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, could we welcome Fred to our...
Absolutely. I think it's fantastic that we have a new member, Mr. Is it Mr. Fontaine?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr.
Yeah.
Fontaine, it's very kind of you to give up your time to come to this board and participate in it. Was there any other information that should be delivered?
No, I didn't.
I'm glad to see you.
I appreciate the help.
Yes.
Glad to be here.
Okay, John.
So with all with all that out of the way, I believe that the first item agenda is board staff. Now, I assume that is on there only because last time, I believe, we re-voted as to who the
Well, no, that's on, I believe that's on just to keep the acknowledgement that we don't have our
Steady staff.
support staff from the town engineer's position.
but then that is a fantastic point to make. So thank you for embarrassing me terribly about that.
No.
I'm kidding. So as has been made clear, we really don't have much staff anymore that are attending the interests of this board. We've sort of, if this seems a little out of uncoordinated this time, it is because we are slightly off balance because of that lack. I don't know if anybody has any interest in making a statement about that beyond anything that I've said.
Well, hopefully we get somebody soon.
That would be fantastic, I agree. The second item is the ADA accessibility update. I don't know that there's anybody present who would have any new information that they could deliver about that, unless I'm mistaken.
I would just like to make a few comments. The ADA accessibility update is under the library, and I believe it was voted at a town meeting that a committee be appointed, and as of the last meeting or so, I did check, and there hasn't been, but maybe now. Have you heard?
No, I haven't heard anything on it, but I think this here, the library, they're talking about the
committee?
making the ADA accessibility to the library itself.
Yes, but the
I know there's a
reason-
committee that they
The
voted on.
reason
Yep.
they were looking for a committee is because they could apply for grants
Correct.
to help with the building of the accessibility. And I did talk to a couple of people from the library and the building, the library they informed me that they decided not to go ahead with moving on a architect until their funds reached $400,000 or June 2021, whichever's first. Right now, their funds are at $90,763 and change. So we need to see how they're doing and probably keep them on the agenda and see where they're going.
Sounds like they're working hard, and they've made pretty good progress on the
Yep.
fundraising in a short period of time.
Yep, that's all I have. Anybody else?
So then we can move on to the green energy status and update. I'm not sure, again, who would be a party at the moment who would have any new information that could be delivered on this particular issue, unless I'm mistaken.
The only thing on green energy was a grant that the town received, and I forgot to bring my copy, but it's mainly electric sources at the
Oh, the charging station?
charging stations.
Yeah, so they, from what I understand, they were able to obtain or they qualify for a $50,000 grant for charging stations.
50K?
for- Yes, but the project cost $56,000. So there was a potential of reopening the warrant to get that extra $6,000, and so I guess we'll know for sure on the 15th of May whether or not they succeeded in doing that.
By the way, that does remind me, too, the town meeting has been changed, right,
It's May 15th at
15th.
10:30.
in the field, like last year. And it is after the town election, which is on May 11th. But we did change that, but because of COVID, I believe this is why this has happened.
And the elections are when, you said? The 11th?
May
The
11th.
15th. Oh, the election's the 11th.
May 11th.
Yep.
And the town meeting's the 15th
15th,
at
yeah.
10:30 a.m. in the elementary field. Okay?
If
Hope all
anybody-
can attend.
If nobody has any other issues to raise or address or speak on in regards to item number 3, we can move on to item number 4, municipal backup generator. Is there any board member that has any knowledge?
That is actually on the town warrant. So if he gets funded, then it'll be on our agenda after that for design and implementation.
Which is really needed, but we'll see.
Anybody else wish to make a statement or raise an issue? We can move on to Bad Luck Pond Outlet Bridge. That's item number 5. Is there, I believe, Mr. Fitzpatrick might have something to say about that?
Yeah, I just prior to the meeting, I called Adam just to get a few updates on some of the items that he could help us on, so there'll be a couple of them as we go through this list. But on the, as far as the bridge project, that contract is being processed as we speak, so it's in the process of being signed, so they'll be moving forward on that. I don't know what the anticipated start date is, that's what the information is that I got.
Thanks, Mike.
Can you give me a brief summary of what that's about?
What's that?
Can you give me a brief summary of what that's about?
Okay, so are you familiar with Cedar Street,
Yes.
where that little sawmill is?
Yeah.
They're going to they did some land taking on either side, they're going to widen it, and they're going to replace that bridge.
Okay.
So they used, Bill had acquired a $500,000 grant, I believe. They're also going to use some Chapter 90 money to complete that project.
So if there are no other issues to be raised or any board member wishing to address item number 5, we can move on to item number 6, the municipal fire alarm. Mike, would you have any information about that?
That's just in a hold pattern until also on the town warrant is replacing the roof on the main roof on this building, as well as an alternate for the elevator lobby roof. So if those get done, then they can start considering to do the fire alarm there. Because it's a problematic roof and we have continuing leaks, they don't want to upgrade that system until it's done. But it's going to have to move pretty soon because the main control panel that's downstairs is in default mode now. So it's going to stay like that until it's replaced. They can no longer get parts to repair it.
Any other questions or issues? Then we can move on to item number 7. I think we just kind of covered that, the municipal gymnasium windows, but Mike, would you have any assistance in this matter?
That's also on hold until they decide exactly what it is that they want to do with the windows. There's been a lot of discussion as far as how they were going to protect it for solar glare, whether it's going to be some sort of shaded glass or shades applied to the inside. So it still hasn't been fully scoped out and designed.
Just a little background on this. I believe some years ago, this item came before us because mainly for warmth in the winter. They're badly needed because the building, the walls would frost up and the windows would be all frost up, and it was cold, and sometimes we were told they had to cancel basketball practice or games. We thought we had it ready to go, but then came a question of sunlight coming in and affecting the vision of the players, so that when they're going to shoot the basket, it got in there, the sunlight, as the sun was going down, got in their vision. So Bill, before he left, was getting ready to, again, do some more work on that to see what possibly would be the final agreement with the people that are running the games and what their recommendation was. But anyhow, that's kind of on hold, but I think we should keep it on myself on the, yeah.
Can Ginger hear us okay?
Ginger, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, just making
Great.
sure we hadn't heard from her.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other issues to be raised on that item? Then we can move on to the senior center flooring. I believe that Mr. Fitzpatrick has some information, or at least minimal information.
Yep, so Patrice was just getting a couple more quotes on that. I think the good news is the asbestos wasn't as widespread as they thought it was. There was a couple little smaller rooms that it wasn't in, so that would help a little bit. But she's just about done getting her quotes, so they should be moving forward on that shortly.
Good.
Any other questions or issues to be raised on that? All right. Can you go on to item number 9? Item number 9, public safety radio system. I don't know that anybody present has any information about that. We'll hold that as an agenda item and address it at a future date.
Yep.
There is also listed here, and I'm not sure if Mr. Fitzpatrick has any information in regards to the status of the oil spill.
The oil spill is expected to be completed, the cleanup's expected to be completed by May 3rd.
Good.
Who's going to do the oil spill, and how much is it going to cost?
The insurance company's paying for the oil spill, and it's somewhere north of $400,000, I think.
Sounds about right. Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So, Fred, are you aware of the situation with that?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Just want to make sure that, yeah.
Mr. Fitzpatrick, would you have, I'm sorry, in regard to that item, is any other issues to be raised, or questions, or statements? Do you have any information, Mr. Fitzpatrick, on the post office painting?
Yes. Yep. So the, they had chose, the low bidder came in, it was CertaPro Painting. They're going to be using them to do it. Went over there and coordinated with, I met with Adam and the gentleman, Randy from CertaPro, and the postmaster, and just figured out how it would work for them in there, so that they ironed all that out. And he's confident that he'll be done prior to June 26th, which is the drop dead date that Gene has given the project to be completed.
June 26th?
Yeah,
Mike?
but he expects it, the job to only take about a week anyways. So he's supposed to start sometime towards middle to the end of May, I think.
And this,
Could be
just
as
as
late
an
as the beginning.
explanation further, this has to do with the town's agreement with the postal service.
Correct. So part of the contract with the Postal Service is we have to paint it every 5 years. or once during the contract period, which is 5 years. And historically, they've been putting on one coat of paint, and it doesn't last. So this time around, what we did is we scoped out the job to give it a good primer coat and prep coat,
Good.
and then 2 top coats on it. And actually, the gentleman from Certapro, he recommended that we use is a new Benjamin Moore product called Scuff-X that holds up very well, and it added $90 to the overall cost of the project. So it was an easy no-brainer to use that.
What's the name of that again, Mike?
Scuff-X.
Ah, okay,
Yep.
thank you.
It's a low sheen product, but that's what he's going to use on it.
Benjamin Moore, huh?
Yep.
Thanks for,
So they worked out all the details of that, and they should be able to move through it quickly.
good.
Are there any other statements or questions or issues to be raised on that item?
No,
I believe that that comes to the end of the agenda. Apparently, we don't have any minutes yet, at least according to my agenda.
No,
Were there any issues that any party wished to bring up, or?
Well, it says upcoming meeting is April 21st.
no, it's May 19th,
And so it should say
May 19th,
May 19th.
Yeah.
next meeting, yeah. And we have a meeting schedule. Fred, you probably don't have one, I'll make sure you get a copy.
It's typically the third Wednesday of the
Yeah.
month.
Yep,
Just out of courtesy, we should explain to Fred how it normally runs. This is kind of unusual that we just zip through a list of stuff, but we normally review different projects, scopes of projects, and designers and things like that.
In much greater depth.
And
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not typically like this, that we just breeze through a list. Usually we actually a little more involved in it, and then we get updates on the projects as they move along.
And we also have I don't know, is it a bylaw?
yeah,
That oversees this committee and what our duties are.
yeah,
Yeah,
And that
April
you can
10,
get from the town
2010.
clerk.
yep.
And it tells how many board members are supposed to be, and
What was supposed to be overseeing it, originally, it was done April 10, 2010. It was originally $10,000 was the threshold limit that would trigger this committee. The state raised theirs about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Raised it to $50,000, and the town voted at town meeting to also raise it at $50,000. And so the projects in excess of $50,000 is supposed to come to us. Technically, the post office painting is at $46,000. It doesn't come to us anyways, but Adam just keeps us in the loop as to what we're doing, so it's always on our list anyway, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And basically, our intent is to look out for what's in the best interest of the town.
Yeah, it's like, I'll give you an example, when we did the heating system in this building, when that heating system was replaced, there was 2 boilers downstairs. Didn't make sense to me, so I just asked a simple question, why do we have 2? Well, one's a backup. I said, okay, so when did the last one run? And then there was a laughter in the room and said, well, Ricky was a kid. Ricky just retired.
Yeah.
So then I asked again, why do we need 2 boilers? We have 1 today.
Yeah.
It's simple things like that. If there's something that doesn't make sense to you, you just bring it up. Or if you're
Or ask to have it
unsure
put on
about
the
something
agenda.
or whatever, you just ask the question
Yep.
and bring it forward, so.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I believe the reason we haven't got minutes, and there's probably at least 5, maybe 6, is because change in the minute takers, and she's got a lot of backlog to do.
Yeah, she's very overwhelmed, and
Yeah.
and what they're concentrating on right now is planning board, because
Yeah.
because there's so much going on with all the stuff in town with the Blackstone logistics and everything, trying to keep up the speed on that.
Sure,
And then I don't know if she's going to do zoning or what the particular
It's a
plan
lot.
is, but I haven't seen capital in a while.
No,
So it's
you've got a
just-
lot to catch up on.
It's just a matter of trying to get up to speed on catching up with all these meetings.
All right.
So if any other issues to be raised?
Right now, I'm thinking, but not for tonight. God help you later.
All right, Ginger.
I think I have the link, and Maria may have it too, the link for all those little tiny URLs that Bill
Yeah.
made before.
Yeah.
And it has all the internal files, whether it's library and all that stuff. If we can get that to Fred, that would be helpful for him. So it just, there's a lot of information in there you may find useful. Some of the stuff that you have questions on, you can
Yep.
go through it.
And again, glad to have you on board, another member. That's great.
Absolutely.
Or maybe even send him Bill's last email. Forward that.
Yeah, Bill's last email
Yeah.
would have all the
Would
links
have
at
all
the
those
bottom of it.
links.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And pretty much everything that was on there is still on
Yeah.
here.
Yes.
Because that's what he used to keep all the links on the email, so then you could just find them all.
Yeah, you just click on the, brings it right up.
Yep. Okay.
So if there are no other questions, issues to be raised, ask for a motion to adjourn.
So
think-
moved.
So-
Second.
So,
Yeah.
I gotta get
7:33.
to talk in
just
a
gonna
minute.
throw the vote real quick. I'll say aye, who agrees to the
Got to
motion
do a
to
roll
adjourn?
call vote.
Shirley
Do a roll-
Jasinski,
okay.
Yeah,
aye.
because you got,
Ginger online, yeah.
you're up, Ginger.
Ginger,
Yep, aye.
just identify yourself if you could.
Excuse me, oh, you want me to tell you who I am too?
Yes,
Yes.
of course. Everybody's suspicious about that.
This is Virginia Howe, and I say I agree, aye.
Sean Holland, I agree, aye.
Fred Fontaine, aye.
Aye,
Linda Brown, aye.
Mike Fitzpatrick, aye.
So we are adjourned at 7:23, maybe the shortest meeting I can ever think of.
Yes.